Hello everybody, this is Tim here again to another video. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a long time. I even come for one of the rare times I've brought notes for a video. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a long time. There's a lot of Stephen King films in development and a lot of Stephen King flicks going through development that are going to be made because of the success of it. So I figured, what the hell? I won't be doing Creepshow and Creepshow 2 in this video. I want to save them for kind of for their own thing. The Creepshow franchise anyway. And 3 if we have to count that one. But this is going to be my Stephen King-a-thon, baby, and we're going to run through a crap load of Stephen King movies in one video. I'm going to review as many as I can that I remember, exactly what I thought about them for the most part, and the ones that I've seen recently, so I can do them all in one video, baby. Okay, started off, The Langoliers. Stephen King's The Langoliers was a 2-part miniseries, I believe, that came out back in the day. I actually have this on DVD. A lot of people enjoy this miniseries until the ending. Once it gets to the ending, people are just like, oh, I hate the special effects, CGI is so bad. Once the Langoliers actually show up, the creatures that pretty much devour time, like past time, the special effects are bad. They are. They're terrible. But other than that, I actually enjoy the interactions between the characters and everything like that in this. Basically, the plot of Langoliers is these people go on this flight. They accidentally go through a time warp. The people who are awake on the plane disappear. The people who are asleep don't. And they go like 15 minutes or something like that into the past, and they're stranded at an airport. They can figure out what the hell's going on, eventually make it back through the time warp and get to safety. And meanwhile, there's this crazy dude who keeps wanting to get to Boston, who was abused by his dad or whatever when he was a kid. Stephen King makes a cameo as like a businessman in a hallucination. And this dude is played by like Balky, the guy that played Balky. He does a good job. He keeps talking about how he wants to get to Boston. Q King 101, there's a psychic child in the film, a blind girl who ends up getting stabbed in the chest by the guy and dies. But a couple of the people die by the hands of Balky. The rest of them manage to make it back through the time warp and get out of there. Balky gets ate by the Langoliers. And so that gives them time to get away. It ends on a happy ending and a really kind of silly final scene where they all like run and jump towards the camera. It's really stupid. All in all, I think this is a good miniseries. When it comes to movies based off books, even if the books are like astronomically better than the films, I judge all films as films. I do the same thing with comic books. But yeah, unless the source material is like way better than what we end up with on screen, that's the only time I will compare it. But yes, I think this is a good flick, like a good miniseries. It's just nothing great. The special effects are bad at the end, but I enjoy the character interactions. We got Dean Stockwell here as a writer. He does a good job, even though he kind of William Shatners it, some of the dialogue. But he does a good job. I'd give it 3 stars out of 4. Good miniseries. Then we got Secret Window with Johnny Depp. Now this one, the setup for the film basically is that Johnny Depp's a writer. Yes, a writer. Most of these stories of Stephen King's will involve writers. Johnny Depp's a writer, and his wife was cheating on him. He's pissed off. He's kind of doesn't want to sign divorce papers and all that. And anyway, so he's pissed off, and he starts like seeing this guy, John Shooter, played by John Turturro, and he keeps telling him that he stole his story. You know, he copied his work or whatever, ripped it off. And Johnny Depp keeps saying no. They keep having a back and forth. His dog, Johnny Depp's dog, ends up dead. And he's still pissed off at his wife. The ending is extremely predictable, which is the worst part of this film. It's directed by David Cope, who also did Stir of Echoes, which is a film I really enjoy. The ending of the film, of course, is that Johnny Depp has a split personality. John Shooter is his other personality. And they end up pretty much merging at the end of it. And it's pretty much John Shooter represents like all of his rage at his wife and everything. He wants to pretty much kill his wife and her new lover, and he does at the end, so it ends really dark. In the short story, it ends with Johnny Depp's character actually being shot down by the police, and the wife survives. Here, though, they go for a much darker ending. He kills the wife and her lover and buries them. So right off the bat, if you're probably not going to be sympathetic towards the cheating characters in the movie anyway, so you're probably not going to care that they die. So right off the bat, with such a dark ending, I think this is a great, fun little movie. It's not anything amazing, but I think it's a great, fun little movie. I'd give it 4 out of 4. Johnny Depp's performance is really good. Now, The Dark Half, directed by George Romero. Dark Half by George Romero. I've never read this story, so I'm just going by the flick. Pretty much this guy has like a twin that's like in his brain or something like that when he was a kid that didn't totally dissolve away or merge with him or whatever when he was being born. And you get like, they pick like a tooth out of his head and everything. Really gross, creepy. And later on, the guy's played by Timothy Hutton, who actually played the adulter or whatever guy in Secret Window, who's like cheating with Johnny Depp's wife. But anyway, and pretty much his book character starts coming to life, and he starts screwing with him and killing off people. And at the end of it, the dude like gets pecked to death by all these ravens. I actually really enjoyed this one. I'd give it 4 out of 4. I really enjoyed it. I like Timothy Hutton's performance. This is one I want to get on DVD or Blu-ray sometime in the future, really soon. I enjoyed this. This is a George Romero film other than his dead films that I recommend. Now, let's break into the notes. See what we got here. Oh, if I can get the shit. Let's see. Maximum Overdrive, baby. This is one actually directed by King. He was really coked up during this shoot. I'll be honest with Maximum Overdrive. This movie really splits people. It is a bad movie. This is not a good movie. This is a B movie about killer vehicles. It's based off a short story from the Night Shifts collection, I believe. It's about killer vehicles. Really silly idea. The only way you could really do this as a feature is if you made it like a really ridiculous B movie. And that's what it is. It's really stupid. And I can see why some people would hate it. I love it. I love it. It is a terrible movie, but I love it. Emilio Estevez plays a cook, and pretty much you got these people at a diner. They're being held hostage there by vehicles that have been brought to life by aliens that have showed up during a meteor passing by. It's really stupid. The main truck is a truck with a Green Goblin face on it. Yes, the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. Is really friggin' ridiculous. At the end of it, Emilio Estevez blows it up with a rocket launcher, and then you find out, just like in some text, that the aliens were blown up by Russia, and Russia like saved the planet. Really, it's so stupid. I love it. 4 out of 4, baby. I love Maximum Overdrive. The redo of the short story Trucks is terrible. It doesn't have any of the fun of Maximum Overdrive. It has like one scene where this toy car like comes to life and like kills somebody like from a store. That's it. It's pretty much the end of it is the father and the child being picked up by a military helicopter, and it's like, don't worry folks, you're in good hands or something like that, because it's like a U.S. military copter. So I guess it's like, you know, all the vehicles came to life, but some of them aren't evil because they're army vehicles. It's really stupid. A 0 out of 4. I'm not even going to go into big detail with it because it's kind of the same. It's the same exact setup as Maximum Overdrive, except it's nowhere near as fun. They try to take it more seriously and add more to the characters, and it just comes off really bland and boring. It's really bad. Salem's Lot, the one directed by Toby Hooper, is really good and one of my favorite King adaptations. I'd give it 3.5 out of 4. It's really good. David Soul, I believe is his name, from Starsky and Hutch, plays the main character, and he comes to town, and Barlow is the name of the vampire, and Striker, or maybe Straker, is the name of the his servant, and the vampire's look is designed from like Nosferatu, and in the book he's supposed to be like a modern day Dracula. Here they went the Nosferatu route, but he does fine. I don't mind the look. I like it. It's creepy. Yeah, some of the things are a little off, like in the movie, like because it's condensed as a book, and it's a mini series, I believe. I think it was like 2 episodes. It really plays more like a movie. That some of the characters don't get really their full, you know, full threads follow through. But other than that, I really enjoyed this one. I really liked the ending. It's got actually Bonnie Bedelia in it as the love interest. I believe it's Bonnie Bedelia from Die Hard. She does good. David Soul is good. All in all, really good. Just, I think some of the side characters could have been fleshed out a little bit more. Now, for the Salem's Lot redo with Rob Lowe, who actually isn't bad in it. He does good as Ben Mears, the writer. It's 2 stars. It's passable. Low 2 stars, passable. Some of the new vampire effects are nice. Rutger Hauer plays the main vampire, but he's like barely in the miniseries. He's barely there. By the time when he shows up, his introduction scene is kind of cool, but he does almost nothing. And Stryker is played by Donald Sutherland, who's just way too kooky and silly and lacks any menace. And the scares just aren't as good because they got really bad like CGI in this version that just doesn't mesh well compared to the really practical scares of the original. But yeah, all in all, it's a passable watch. I got it in a 3-pack with It and the Shining miniseries. It's worth one watch. It's not terrible. It's just kind of there. The Shining, Stanley Kubrick, masterpiece. I love this flick. It's nothing like the novel, nothing. And yes, I do believe the book is better. And yes, I would love to see a much more faithful adaptation of the book that's really good. This one is awesome, though. It's an awesome film in its own right. Jack Nicholson just plays pretty much crazy Jack Nicholson. He's crazy from the beginning. This is a guy that, with or without ghosts, eventually probably would have went crazy and killed his wife and his son. This is a dude that's just looking for a reason to go crazy. And the ghosts in the film pretty much just push him to it. This film works because it has so many like different multiple meanings and stuff like that you can get from it, just from the ending scene where it shows Jack Nicholson's picture, like, you know, in an old overlooked photo, where it's kind of like, you know, was he reincarnated? Is he like become one with the place now? You know, what is it? It's whatever you want it to be. Awesome flick. The Shining miniseries, directed by Mick Garris, who also did Riding the Bullet and Desperation, I believe, which I haven't seen in forever. But anyway, the Shining miniseries, people are kind of divided on this. People who love the book tend to like it a little bit more. People who love the Kubrick film tend to hate this one. All in all, I thought the miniseries, it didn't really remind me of Kubrick at all in it, except for maybe like one scene where the dude puts his head through the door. But it didn't really remind me of Kubrick at all. I was able to separate it in my mind. All in all, I thought this was an alright average miniseries. It's nowhere near as good as the book, and it's nowhere near as good as the Kubrick film, but it's alright. I like the fact that it tries to be more like the book, and it does succeed in getting more of the spirit of the book. It's alright. I thought Steven Weber actually did a good job for this version of Jack Torrance that he does. As like a guy who's not really mean or evil, but has anger problems, and just they fly out when he drinks, and he tries to get away from that. But of course, you know what happens in Shining. But yeah, all in all, it's all right. Some cheesy 90s dialogue and some bad CGI effects. But the cast is good. I actually like Rebecca De Mornay, or I think say her name, plays Wendy in this version. I actually like her better than Shelley Duvall from the Stanley Kubrick film. I actually thought she did a really good job. But yeah, it's all right. It, the miniseries. I know some people have turned on the miniseries of It with Tim Curry since the new It's out, and the new It is better as a horror flick. But I will say, watching this old one again, I actually thought it was great. I'd give it 4 out of 4. I actually had a great time with it. I thought Tim Curry did a great job. He is the best performance in it, and the first half with the kids coming together to defeat It is better than the second half. Mostly because you get more of the good stuff in the first half. Like, you see them coming together as friends for the first time. So when you see them back together as adults, you don't really feel that because they're already friends. You know, the magic's already kind of dissipated. And it's fun seeing the kids come together more than it is adults, I believe. There's just more of a magical quality to that. Just there, you know. All in all, I had a great time with it. Tim Curry's character isn't really scary, but he's funny as hell. And he's just got a lot of charm to him. That's Pennywise. The giant spider effects at the end. The problem with the giant spider for me is the fact that it just takes away Tim Curry, and he's just so charismatic that when you just replace him with a big spider, it's like, hey. I actually like the effect though, how it's like Ray Harryhausen type effects. I actually thought it was kind of neat. But it would have been cooler if give the spider like Tim Curry's voice. I don't understand why they didn't do that. I would have liked that much better. Yeah, all in all, I had a great time with it though. And some notable actors, child actors in this, like Jonathan Brandis from Sidekicks. He does a really good job here. Sadly, he committed suicide. That's really... I wish he didn't do that. But I don't want to focus on that topic because it's, it's a much more serious thing. But anyway, and Seth Green is here. And then the girl from Ginger Snaps is here. I actually don't know her name. It may be Emily Perkins. And it's not Emily Perkins, I don't think. But the girl from Ginger Snaps, not the one that was in Freddy vs. Jason, but the other one. I don't know the actress's name, but she's here too as a kid. Yeah, Cujo I actually had a great time with. It does have flaws. It's not a masterpiece by any means or a horror classic, but I think it's a great killer dog flick. Pretty much in Cujo, just going by the movie for me, my own personal interpretation is that this is a woman who doesn't value her marriage, doesn't value her kid, and she pays the price for it, and she learns to appreciate it by the end of the movie and reconciles with her husband after cheating on him. And she gets attacked by the dog, and her rite of passage to make up for her sins is to save her child, kick this dog's ass. And Cujo, of course, is a good dog, gets bit by a bat and gets rabies. In the book, some of it's actually told from Cujo's point of view, which is kind of interesting. Of course, they couldn't do that at the time. I don't even know if that would work now. But yeah, all in all, I thought the effects were good for the dog. Of course, no real animal was harmed. And it does plot a little bit. It's a little bit overlong. They could have shaved a little bit more off this movie. for the story they had here. All in all, though, when it actually gets to the action of the dog and the woman, and Dee Wallace plays the mom, her and her son trapped in a car, that's when the film really kicks into high gear, and I really love just like the whole last half of this or whatever with the dog. So all in all, 4 out of 4, great killer dog flick. 1408 with John Cusack, I actually really enjoy. It's one of my favorite Stephen King flicks, and I like it because it's just so simple. John Cusack plays this guy who's pretty much lost his faith in religion and in humanity. He just goes around dispelling like supernatural stuff because he wants other people to lose their faith in like the afterlife and things like that. And he checks in this place, and I just love Samuel L. Jackson plays like the hotel manager, I believe, here, and he's always, he keeps telling him, don't go into that room, don't go in there, and he goes in there anyway. Of course, he gets trapped in the room, and depending on what cut of the film you get is what ending you get. In the director's cut ending, he dies at the end, but in the theatrical version, which was shown in theaters, he lives. And I actually prefer the ending he lives because I feel like it felt more like that was the ending that the film was leading up to. Him dying at the end just didn't, it felt like it was trying to just be overly dark to me for a story like this, but I don't know. There are some neat little scare scenes in the director's cut that are better, and some better character development there for some scenes with him and his dad that should have been in the theatrical cut. But other than that, the ending I do not like, and I prefer the theatrical cut ending. But yeah, all in all, 1408 is great. It's just cool seeing John Cusack, who's an actor I like, being trapped in a friggin' hotel room for the whole movie almost. At the end of it, and I like how he gets out of it at the end. He sets the place on fire because the room can affect anything that's like in the room already. It's like part of its domain, but whatever you bring in, you can use against it. So he sets the room on fire, and the fire department breaks in. That's how he gets out. I really like that cleverness of the character. The room can't actually kill you. It needs you to like kill yourself. Like if you slip and fall in the room, you're dead. You know, you can like whatever die from whatever accident, or you have to kill yourself. It can't actually kill you though, because the things it's showing you are, I believe, just hallucinations. So it's interesting. Now, Riding the Bullet, directed by Mick Garris. Riding the Bullet is one I found to be good. I'd give it 3 out of 4. I actually believe this was based on an ebook by Stephen King. It's good. It stars, I believe the main actors, I don't know the main actor's name, but I saw him in another movie, Venom, which was really terrible. But he plays this guy. It takes place in the 70s. He's like really depressed all the time and suicidal. He always wants to kill himself. He doesn't appreciate life whatsoever. So pretty much you know that his character development in the film is going to be learning to appreciate life. David Arquette is in this, and I like David Arquette. He makes me laugh. I even like Ready to Rumble. He plays a ghost here, and he picks up the dude and keeps screwing with him, and it's just got like this fun little 70s psychedelic feel to it. Problems with the film is some of the special effects on the limited budget that they had don't really hold up. Like there's a CGI transformation where David Arquette transforms into the guy's mom. It doesn't really look that good. I like how they use like the cleverness of the script here, where the main character like talks to himself, and you actually see it, like two of himself talking back and forth, and he's the only one that can see it, you know, besides, you know, the audience. And that was kind of neat. And David Arquette basically tells him that he has to choose who dies, him or his mom. Who's David Arquette going to take to the afterlife? And he chooses his mom at the end, and he because he decides that he wants to live now, and he keeps regretting that decision he made after his mom is taken. And it's really sad, but the movie's really there with a message to teach you to appreciate life, and I just really enjoyed that. All in all, good flick. Let's see. Stephen King's Sleepwalkers, also directed by Mick Garris. Now this was one that I really did not like before. I just thought it was kind of passable. Because my big problem with this is the tonal shift halfway through. Sleepwalkers is a really crazy idea about these werecat creatures who have to suck the life force out of virgins. And there's like this weird incest story between the mom and the son here, because he has to feed her since the husband is dead. So she feeds off the males by them sleeping with her. So she has to feed off the son by him sleeping with her. So it's like a really gross, weird incest story. I actually give the movie points for actually going through. But there's this really cute girl that I don't know the actress's name. She was also in Trapped in Paradise as the girl Nicolas Cage had a crush on. But anyway, he wants to feed off her. The son does. And but he actually starts to fall in love with her in the movie. But then, like halfway through the movie, they just totally drop that arc, and he just becomes like an over-the-top B-movie monster movie with really silly lines, like cop kebab and stupid crap like that, and just really over-the-top violence. But there's this cat named Clovis. The creatures are like weak to cat scratches. There's this cop cat named Clovis, which is really funny, and he like whoops the creature's ass at the end with a bunch of other cats, and they kill the creatures, and the main girl ends up getting saved by him. And the score of the movie is really good. It's by Anya, really good. But all in all, after learning to kind of like accept the tonal change, and just, well, not so much accept it, but just see, like, knock the movie down for points for how bad the tonal change is, but then, you know, accept the movie for what it is going forward after that. I think this is an alright B movie. It's not anything you should really bother to see unless you're someone who just kind of likes to consume a lot of horror like me. I own this film. I think it's alright. I like the film, but I don't like it. I see a lot of wasted potential in this one. Now, Cat's Eye by Stephen King, actually, I'd give this one 4 out of 4. I actually thought Cat's Eye was great. It's pretty much just like 3 stories. It's and told from a cat's point of view. Originally, Sometimes They Come Back was going to be a part of this compilation of stories that the cat was going to see, but they wanted to put it into its own movie because they thought it was worthy enough of its own flick. But yeah, there's this cat who's like just traveling around, and you get to see different stories from its point of view, pretty much. It's kind of a neat idea, and it's trying to make it to Drew Barrymore originally, and save Drew Barrymore from this troll. Originally, there was going to be an opening in the film of the cat's owner who was going to be a little girl, also played by Drew Barrymore, killed by the troll, and the mom was going to blame the cat for it and start shooting at it, and it was going to get away. I have no idea why they deleted that. I heard it was because it was like, I don't know why they deleted it. I forgot, but. They should have left that in. That would have been really good character development and helped link the troll story up better with the movie overall, because the other 2 stories are mobster stories. You get this really funny story of James Woods trying to quit smoking, and this mobster is put him in this program where he's going to force him to quit smoking. If he smokes, they're going to kill his family, and he takes the cigarettes and beats the hell out of them on the table. It's really funny. That was probably the most fun story. The second one, The Ledge, was good, but the effects in it at the end of it when the dude falls off the building are kind of shaky. Pretty much this guy is being forced to walk around this ledge by this mobster, and if he makes it all the way across, they're going to let him go. Of course, if he falls, he's dead. He manages to actually make it, and the cat actually saves the guy because the dude was going to welch on the bet and shoot him anyway, and the cat saves him, and he makes the mobster walk across, and the mobster, of course, falls and dies, and hence when you get some bad special effects. The final story is the cat makes it to Drew Barrymore, and of course, the mom is really paranoid of cats because she believes in this old wives' tale that cats will steal kids' breaths, and this is like an old wives' tale. It's been around for a long time. And, of course, it's really a troll that's doing it. And the cat ends up having a ninja fight with the troll, which is kind of fun, but kind of silly. It doesn't really fit the tone of the other 2 stories, but it's still fun. It's a really fun, climax to it. All in all, I had a good time with this. I like anthologies. Now, we break out my second set of notes here so we can get to the second spot of Stevie King's. Let's see. Okay. A long time ago, when I first started this channel, I reviewed Sometimes They Come Back, so I figured it's about time I do Sometimes They Come Back again, starring Alexis Arquette. Yes, the late Alexis Arquette as the villain, pre-sex change. Now, pretty much the same thing as the original, same plot, except this time the greasers are satanic greasers, and they worship Satan. And they want to sacrifice this girl to do a demonic spell, and it's Michael Gross' sister. Yes, Michael Gross from Tremors. And they end up getting killed by being electroshocked by Michael Gross as a kid. They come back to life. This one's much more of a B movie with some really terrible lines. Alexis Arquette pretty much holds the film together and carries the flick. He's the most fun thing here. And you get one cool death when he kills this psychic girl played by Jan Brady, the girl played Jan Brady in the Brady Bunch movie, and he takes these tarot cards and makes them fly into her. It was a pretty fun death. The end of it though is kind of stupid. The killers get killed by stepping right back into the same exact puddle they did when they were alive. They step right back there like idiots, and they get electroshocked again, and they die the same way like morons. But at the end of it, you get one last little jump scare with Alexis Arquette, which was pretty funny. All in all, Hilary Swank is actually in this as the daughter. She does okay, or passable. I mean, her acting is actually not that great here. All in all, it's low 2 stars. It's a passable flick. I can watch this one, and I have a soft spot for B movies because they're usually so dumb fun. They're entertaining. This is one of those. It's entertaining. I can have a passable time with this, pop it in, watch it, laugh a couple times with Alexis Arquette because he's entertaining, and when it's over, just be like, well, you know, it's done. Well, what's next? I don't hate this one. Sometimes they come back for more. The third chapter, which takes place, which is like a ripoff of The Thing, and takes place in like friggin' Antarctica. And it's about like this dude's demonic like half brother coming back to life, trying to do some kind of satanic ritual, and him and his brother are like half demon, but the other dude's good. Really nothing like the first two. I'll just go ahead and say it, 0 out of 4. This is a terrible flick. It's really a waste of time. It's just a huge ripoff of The Thing. Like, one by one, these people at this ice station or whatever, Arctic station, start, like, disappearing. And they come back and they're, like, possessed. And at the end of it, he pretty much blows his brother up. And they're supposed to be, like, immortal, I think. But the dude still dies anyway. So it really makes no sense. Just really stupid. The Mist, 4 out of 4. I had a great time with The Mist. The ending of this movie seems to split people because it's not the ending from the book. I actually think this ending works better. I don't think the book ending where they just kind of drive off would have worked better. Would have worked for, like, on screen. But yeah, Thomas Jane is in this. He was also in another Stephen King movie, 1922, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, all in all, I'd give this 4 out of 4 stars. It's this mist that comes into town. You find out it's from a military project. They actually opened like a hole in another universe. And the creatures that come with the mist aren't really evil creatures. They're just animals from their dimension. And they're, you know, they're just here. They're just reacting how they naturally would because they're animals. And there's this crazy religious lady. What I like most about this film is it's really a message film. It's directed by Frank Darabont, who did great with The Green Mile and Shawshank Redemption, in my opinion. And he does great, like, King work. But, yeah. The message of the film I really like because it's about fear and giving into fear and what it does when you do that and you make irrational decisions. Like the people at the supermarket all know this crazy religious lady is really stupid, played by Marisha Gay Harden. And they know that she's really stupid and they can't believe anything she says, but they start getting so freaked out by the creatures because they can't explain what the hell is going on. They don't understand. You know, so they just start going to her because she offers an easy solution. She's like, let's do human sacrifices, you know, and you're like, oh God, you know, this woman's crazy. Like, I have nothing against people being religious or anything, but even religious people will tell you, like, this woman's crazy. Obviously. But, and I'm religious myself. But anyway, yeah, clearly crazy. And at the end of it, of course, Thomas Jane and his family, or his son, and these other few people managed to get away, and they think the mist has, like, engulfed everything, and they give up hope. And they end up starting to commit suicide. And the last scene is, of course, the military coming in, like, clearing away the mist, and you find out that the military has done away with the problem perfectly safely. And it's going to be taken care of. And the military is taking care of the mist, and Thomas Jane's sitting there after he just killed his son, and he tried to commit suicide himself with a gun and not enough bullets in it. And he's sitting there freaking out, you know, he's crying his eyes out because he gave in to fear and killed his friends, including his son. They did like a suicide pact, which is really sad. I would never do that, even no matter how scared I was, because I physically could not shoot my own kid. I mean, mentally, I could not do that. And I just couldn't. But yeah, really epic ending. I mean, realistically, probably after the final scene, he probably just ran over to a soldier and forced him to, like, shoot him in the head, and he probably just died from that, honestly. But yeah, all in all, a great film with a really great message about just, like, not giving in to fear. Now for Stephen King's, the last one here is going to be 1922, the other one with Thomas Jane. I believe it's called 1922. It was a Netflix flick based off a short story. Thomas Jane does a great job here, although the problem with this one is he does a little too much of the, like, redneck southern stereotype where he's, like, talking outside of his mouth like, hey, in the country. You know, it's like, it reminded me of, like, Ernest when he played, like, rednecks on his shows, Ernest P. Worrell. But yeah, it's about this father and the son who conspire together to kill the mom, and pretty much they get cursed by God, I guess, and their land becomes destructive, and there's these rats that always come around, and his son and his girlfriend, who's just guilty by association, I guess, she just dies because she happens to just be associated with the family. They both die horribly. And then, of course, by the end of it, they come there to, like, finish him off and slit his throat because, you know, it's his time to go, too, because that's how he killed the mom, was by slitting her throat. He pretty much wants to kill the mom so he can keep his land and everything and not have to worry about being aggravated by her because she wants a divorce. Pretty much it's two people who got married really young, and they've gotten older now, and I have regretted it. There's always situations like that. Yeah, all in all, 4 stars. The ending was really dark. Like, Thomas Jane is sitting there after everything that's happened. He realizes what a huge mistake he's made in his life, and the curse has been following him around. Pretty much, he's been cursed because he killed his wife. His whole family has. And like the wife's ghost, the son's ghost, and the dead girlfriend's ghost all show up there, and they got like a knife, and they're gonna like slit his throat and finish him off so he can go to the afterlife now too. And they're like, "Don't worry, Daddy, it'll be quick," you know. And he's just sitting there crying, just like really sad ending. But, you know, he does deserve it for killing the wife. Like, there's a million other things he could have done. Yes, the wife is a douche. But he could have just, like, ran off with the kid. Or simply just got a divorce and just tried to talk to the wife or something, and just letting the kid stay with him because he doesn't want to be with her anyway. I mean, there's a lot of other things he could have done. But he just resorts to murder. But yeah, all in all, great, 4 stars. Yeah, now, since the King-a-thon is now done, after this, I'm going to be reviewing the Stephen King television series, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. I'm going to do an episode after episode. Each episode is going to get its own video. So I'll see you guys again with those reviews.